Hey, what's up, everybody? So today is Sunday. We're getting our weekly close today. So it'll be interesting to see how all of that's going to play out as we head into the this new week. So just looking at dot real quick. I mean, nothing specific with dot. I mean, it could be ICP, for example. It doesn't matter. We have an impulse, right? We talked about this. We have a three-way pullback, but now what we're starting to see here, right? We have our impulse off the low, and now we're coming back and now we're consolidating. So either we're going to get some kind of three-wave move, or we're going to get some kind of retracement and then maybe a bigger three-wave move and then a continuation, right? It's still not quite clear yet. We have to keep monitoring it. Let's take a look at, for example, XRP. I mean, it looks really clean. You know, we have a proper three down, three up, and then we actually had that. To me looks like five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like an A, B, C. It looks finished. And this looks like an impulse, and this looks like we're flagging out. So we could come down and hit the low. We could come even below $2 again. As long as we don't break this low, which is at $1.95, you know, we could drizzle, 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 and then, you know, continue. And that's kind of what I'm thinking here, right? So, you know, we're about to hit 2025. And I've shared examples. Look at this. If we go to Bitcoin and you go to the weekly chart, I want to show you something pretty amazing. So if we go all the way back in time, and I just want to show you how the beginning of the year is really a major inflection point for crypto, either a continuation, a top, or a massive bull run, or the start of it, right? So if we go to, let's go to January 2014. So if you go to January 2014, look at that. That actually marked the top of the bull run, right? So we had a big bull run. It marked the top, and then we pulled back, right? So obviously we had a big bear market. Now look at this. Now we go to January 2015, right? I'll just move this over to January 15. Look at that. That actually marked the low, right? So you had a January marking the top. You had a January marking the low. All right, now let's keep moving here. 2015. Let's go to 2016. So 2016 is kind of interesting. We just created our base. We pumped up a little bit. This is kind of like where Theta is right now, and where a lot of other coins are, sort of stuck in their retracement levels. Let's see where we were during that time. So if we take a retracement here and we come all the way down, we're sort of about around the 236, right? Around the 236, 382. All right, now if you take a, let's say, I was trying to look for theta real quick and just see where we are exactly. And we take a trend, a Fibonacci here, yeah? No, okay, so we're definitely not even to the 236, but we're sort of almost, you know, not quite, but you're around that 236 area. So anyway, but keep moving here. Look at Bitcoin. So when we look at Bitcoin here, right, what happened? January 2016, we developed a base and then it kicked off a massive bull run. Okay, so now let's move this all the way to January 2017. This could also potentially where we could be, you know, with some coins that are sort of approaching their all-time high. You know, maybe like Solana or Sui, or actually Sui broke it, or even like Dog or something like that. You know, you could see right here, January, what happened. We had this little flat, and then we kicked off and we continued. Okay, so let's keep moving. Let's go to January 2018. January, December. When I say it's December or January, I mean that's the December at the end of the year, January the beginning of the year. basically right there. So you look at December, January of 2018, look at this. That actually marked the top. So it marked the top over here. It marked the top over here. It marked the bottom here. It marked, you know, as we were continuing, and it marked over here. So I think that's pretty interesting. Now let's keep moving here. If we go to January 2019, look at that. December, January 29th, right around here. Look at that. That actually marked the low. I mean, come on. It's pretty weird, right? It's pretty cool. Okay, so that marked the low. We came all the way up, right? And then what happened? We went into reaccumulation. Look at this. And now let's go to January, December, January. So we'll go right about there. So this was a little bit of an outlier, but it still led into a big important event, which was C19 crash, right? It took a couple months, but essentially it kind of marked the top of this, and then we had a big flush. So it was a little bit significant. So let's go to 2021. If we go to 2021, and this is interesting because 2021 is really similar to where we are now, right? For example, if you look at, like, here's the all-time high, here's the all-time high, right? And then we break out of the all-time high. Same thing here. We break out of the all-time high. And if you look at this, and if you look at this, it's kind of a similar style correction in a way, which meant what? Which meant we had another impulse, and then we had distribution. So that would be interesting if we can get another impulse and then distribution. And if we know distribution leads to incredible alt seasons. If you look at THETA right here, there's THETA on the bottom right here. Look at this. Bitcoin comes up, it goes into distribution. This is the top, the top, the top, the top, the top, right? What happens at the top? We have an explosion in altcoins across the board. So THETA exploded like in a month, all the way up there. So incredible, right? So that, and then look where THETA was during this time, January. We were right in here. So look what happened after that. And then where did it really end? It ended somewhere around March. And that's kind of what I'm thinking here. I think this is gonna play out maybe, December, January, February, and March. I think that could be how fast these things can take place, unless it's more of a super cycle and we have a midpoint correction. I'll show you that in a minute. By the way, if you can hit the like button, I'd appreciate that. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think, and maybe consider becoming a member and getting some extra insights on how the world of charts. For example, we just talked about rotations and how to sort of understand the percentage values, because most people look at the price, not really so much the percentages. The percentages mean everything. So it doesn't matter what the price is. It's all about how much the percentage is. All right, so let's keep moving forward. That was 2021. Let's go to 2022. Where's 2022 at? So 2022, December, January, right around there. So that's really another outlier, kind of somewhere in between a wave. But we were sort of at the bottom here. We flagged out, and then we had the big dump. So it led into this big dump, but it wasn't like, a real big pivot area. But now the next one is really like insane, the next one. But look at this. March was the pivot area, right? But if you look at the next one, this is literally December, January, right? 2023. The start of 2023. Look at that. That was really the bottom here of that wave. So that was actually pretty incredible, because then it led into something massive, right? This was the beginning of 2023. Look what happened after that. But here we are. Okay, let's go to 2024 real quick. 2024. And this is also interesting because this is the fractal we were looking at last night. This was sort of a midpoint of this third wave, this middle point here. What's interesting about it is that we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe we're in 4 here, and then we get 5. And then, you know, same thing here. Right? So we could be at this midpoint before that ending, kind of like what happened over here. So I thought that was interesting. So if you look at this on the smaller time frames, we were just looking at it. Look at this right here. Here's the two corrections. So that was, look at that. There's December, January, okay? And look where we are. Or no, yeah, this is the current chart, December, January. But look where we were back then. This was also around that New Year's, right? So this correction and this correction happened around the exact same time, which is definitely interesting. So I'm just plugging all the pieces together. This is not financial advice. This doesn't mean anything at all. I mean, except for the fact that it's telling us a story. And we can either ignore it, we can say, yeah, there's some validity to it. You know what I mean? So I like to, you know, the more times it occurs, the more convincing it is. And this all comes down to, you know, what's going to happen here in 2025. You can see we actually broke above this trend line. Resistance, we break above. Now we flipping it to support. We really want to hold that trend line. That is a key area we got to hold, right? So here we are approaching 2025. Is this going to be the markings of a top like 2020 or 2017, right? Or even 2014? Or is it going to be the markings of a midpoint wave like this one here? So this is your midpoint, and then you get another pump, right? Or something like this, where you get one more push up, one more push up, and then you go into distribution, and then you have the alt season, just like what happened over here. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of, you know, possibility here. So it's starting to look like an expanded flat to me, or some type of flat, which is A, B, C. We're getting some type of flat, right? Just like, oh, come on, just like over here, where you come down, you correct, you take the top, you come down, you go back up, you take the top, and then you flush the low, and then you flush the low, and then you go crazy, and then you go crazy. So we did have a cleansing in the alts, but we didn't really have a cleansing in Bitcoin. Now we're finally seeing a little bit of a cleansing here in Bitcoin. Now I would like to see it be a running flat where we could just hold these lows, but sometimes you might have to dip below, take out that liquidity, get everybody really freaked out, and then go. But that could be really detrimental to the alts because they're already at a fragile point. Yeah, let's take a look at some alts now. Well, first of all, let's look at this smaller time frame on Bitcoin and see where we're at here. You know what? It actually looks pretty decent right here. You know, we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, it looks like 5 to me. This looks like an impulse. This looks like we're flagging out a little bit. I'd like to see it come up and take, you know, get back above 100K, you know. But then by then you only have 3 waves. So what's even better, instead of actually going up, is actually going sideways, right? So if we can build a range in here like this, boom, boom, we come down, maybe we come back up, and then we develop some kind of creek phase, a Wyckoff accumulation, something like that. That would actually be better because it establishes a base here, right? The problem with going right back up real fast like this, see how you come up, you pull back, and then you go back up. What does that do? It creates a 3-wave move. We don't want 3-wave moves because then when you get back up here, it's very, 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 very risky because it could either make it or break it. So I still believe we're going to get back up here. It's just about how do we get back up there? Do we get up there in 3 waves? Do we get up there in 5 waves? You know, because the way this is looking, if we do go up, it's going to look 3 wave-ish. But here's the thing. If it is 3 wave-ish, we can always get 3 waves back down. And then we can get one massive 5, right? So that's exactly what happened to theta, right? Over, let me go to the higher time frame right here. See how it went 3 up and then it went 3 down, right? And now we exploded to the upside. So there you go. I mean, I think that could be something very unique. So, you know, it's looking pretty good, man. I've been just getting blown up by spam calls. You know, I was kind of looking for, we were looking to upgrade. You know, the best time in the year to buy a car is actually December because they're trying to get rid of the lots. So, you know, when you go online, you look at a couple cars and then they won't really tell you much until, you know, they put your information in. So then you get blown up with all these car ads, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's just like, man, I just wanted a little bit of information, you know, on an SUV. Come on, slow down there, you know? So, anyways, we got a 3-wave move here on theta, and I think that, sorry, I had to pause the video. The delivery guy just knocked on my door. So he delivered one of my packages. Anyway, so I think, you know, looking at this, look, guys, I don't edit my videos. It's just one shot, one take, you know, whatever it is whatever it is. I don't have time for all that. You know what I mean? So if I make a mistake, oh well, you know, that is what it is. But looking at the current structure, I do see a little bit of a 3-wave move here. And when I'm looking at this, it kind of looks like a diag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we had a pretty big wave C, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we had, so there's your A. And then we came up, there's your B. And then this kind of looks like a little diag. And that could be C. Now it doesn't look proportional. It doesn't give me the warm and fuzzy feeling like it's done. You know, I mean, you could say also that this is an accumulation range and we have a little bit of a Wyckoff. There's your liquidity grab. Now we're coming up, then we're going to play around, continue. Those are 2 bullish ways to look at it. The other way is to say that this is, you know, 5 and then we kind of get something like this, like a complex 3-wave. So if this is 3 and this is 3 and this is 3, so you got a 1 and then a 2 and then go. So I don't know which one is going to be. We're just going to have to track the small time frames, right? So let's go to the weekly and let's look at some analysis here. So this wick here, where did this wick land? Look at that. Pretty perfect there. So boom and boom. That's really what I like to see. And then you have a big tail at the bottom, right? It's not really big, but you can see, you know, the last time we had a big tail, we consolidated for a while. Ended up being a big dump, but that's where, you know, we need to see some wave structure on what this looks like. Does it look, you know, like it's about to collapse? Does it look impulsive? Does it look like a Wyckoff? There's a lot of different things that could play out, but we really want to see it kind of consolidate a little bit, but then we need it to continue because we don't have much time if in fact Bitcoin only has, you know, 1 wave to go. So XRP weekly close, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. You're just flagging out a little bit. It could get even worse than it is. But if we look at it on linear, yeah, I mean, it's just a normal correction. So let's go back to, let's look at dog. So you could see we kind of broke the high, but then we quickly came back in. I don't really like when it does that. If you close above a close, a really high close, you want to stay above it or you want to back test it. But, market conditions don't always favor the smaller cap meme coins, like, you know what I mean? So they're all dependent on the rest of the market. So it's all about the environment. If the environment is perfect, then yeah, it works out. So not only you have to have the perfect wave structure, but you also got to have it in conjunction with the rest of the market being in that similar environment. Like, for example, the dollar. We don't want the dollar going up. We don't want gold flying up so much. We want the stock market to be healthy. There's a lot of moving parts around crypto, liquidity, interest rates, the economy. I mean, there's so many things that influence price. And the best way to read it is by reading what it's telling us, and as far as structure goes. I mean, CRV, for example, you have a 1, 2, 3. This to me looks like a 4. And it looks like we should go up and get 5. So I think, Bitcoin, there's a lot of coins out there that look like they need another wave, at least another wave to the upside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that would be 3. So you got 5, 3, and then maybe you get 5 later and then go. Depends. Or it could be more like the Ethereum fractal where you have a nice W pattern. We've shared that before. Look at Zcash. You have a big impulse. That's probably the biggest three-way pullback I've ever seen in crypto. Zcash, EOS, kind of like that. Like you got this big 1, big 2. You got all of that accumulation, and now you're barely, it's going to take time. So it's either going to be very quick or it's going to take its time. Now, let me talk about that for a minute. Like if we had a mid-cycle correction, I did briefly talk about it last night, but it's essentially something like this. So if we come down a little bit and we do something like that, so we get 5 waves up, we flag out, we go into reaccumulation, relative to this area. So we do not want to break below 31K. If you break below 31K, then it's not going to be good. And it's really higher than that. You really don't, you really want to stay above these two zones between 50 and 70. I think that would be very healthy reaccumulation. So again, either this is the bull run and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you get distribution, and then it's over, you get the bear market. Or this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you get an ABC, you kind of go into some reaccumulation, and then you continue. You know what I mean? So, for example, you got like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That could be 1. And then you have 3. Or I'm sorry, yeah, you have and then you have a 2. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like something in here. Pull back and then continue like that for a 3. But it just, that's just way too, when you look at things on log scale, it just, proportionality. There's a lot. There's like, for example, you could say 1, 2, and then this is 3, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're getting 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that's pretty much it. And then Bitcoin from its inception now has 5 waves. So then you would get a super cycle bear market, right? The bear markets don't really last that long. So imagine having a bear market that lasted, a long, long time. You know what I mean? So I don't see. I think it'll continue. The reason why is because they're not going to stop printing money. So, but then again, all the people who own Bitcoin, they're going to want to exchange it for something real, like land, real assets. Digital assets are the best way to exchange money throughout the world, but they come with their downsides, which is a brutal bear market, and when you have millions and millions of dollars, these people, they're not gonna just let it. Most of them, a lot of people hodl, but a lot of people don't want to go through all that. So that's why we get these massive bear markets, which I don't really mind them. I just, short it to the downside when I can, and then accumulate the lows and just being patient, Um, so, anyways, I think that's about it. Let's see the smaller time frame here. I don't really like the way it came down. On one side of me, it looks 3 wave-ish, and then it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like that's 5. It looks like we're getting 5. So this low could be being threatened. Now let me look at Bitcoin dominance, because that's gonna. I haven't looked at it in a while. Let's see here. So Bitcoin dominance. Yeah, it looks like we obviously were. Let me get rid of this. So we're definitely in resistance, right? You can see all this resistance up here. And then you could see that knockback, right? So we were climbing and climbing and climbing. And if you look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin, every January or every December, actually, a lot of the Decembers mark the low. So this could be a beautiful alt season between now and maybe spring. We can come down here pretty vicious, which would be nice to see. So is that going to happen? Well, it all depends on what this wave is, right? Because to me, this looked like that top, and then you had a big dump, and then this was a retrace. So we're right in the retrace levels. So this is the moment where, let's see where we are, where things can turn around. So look at that. We came right up to the 786 and we got rejected. Now we're sort of floating around the 618, 702. So what we want to see, the issue I see though is we have kind of a 3-wave move down, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. So we have a 5-wave move up. So at the very least, I want to see a 3-way pullback. Maybe it's some type of bigger ABC like this, so 5, 3, 5, and then we start to go down. So yeah, it's always tough in the retracement levels. Point A, point B, point C. What we want is for this to crash. We want this to go down, and we want it to crash and burn and go to zero. That's what you want. If you're holding altcoins and not Bitcoin, you want this thing to die. So if everybody just sold their Bitcoin into altcoins, we would all be sitting pretty good. But it's just, the masses are just convinced that Bitcoin is the one and the only one, and it's just ridiculous. Bitcoin is $100,000. You're not going to make a lot of money on it. There's just no way. Bitcoin can go to Bitcoin can go to $1 million, and that's only a 10x. The problem is the dollar. So that's why we see the big dump. Look at the dollar. The dollar's starting to go up, and we don't want that. Let's look at it. Now, you kind of got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it already looks like you're getting pretty much a top, and you do have bearish divergence here. So if we could get a reversal on the dollar, because it does look oversold. Let's go to the weekly. Not quite. But what is interesting is this three-wave move. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A. And then we have 1, 2, 3. This could be B. 1, right there. It's a flat for a B. And then we go down into C. A, B, C. And then we really take off. So if we got something like that, that would be incredible for the markets. Now, on the flip side, this could be a 1 and a 2, and now we're in the beginnings of a third, and then a 4, and then a 5. And then it finishes up here, and then it collapses. So it's probably one of those two. I mean, you're in a range in here, and you're starting to break that range, which is not good. There's a lot of empty space up here. So a lot of times it just comes up there to tag that fib level, which would be, I mean, we're only at the golden zone between the 50 and the 618. So we still have a lot of upside potential, like the 702, the 786, but we don't, 110 should be 110, 111, we don't want to go higher than that. All right. So let's just keep looking around here. Yeah, it's just Bitcoin Cash just doesn't look that, I don't know, it just doesn't give me the feelings. But I mean, it could change. You got a three-way pullback. I mean, it just kind of looks depressing right now. Dominance, USDT dominance. This is what yeah, this thing needs to come down too. And look at the bullish divergence on the dominance. That is major bullish divergence on dominance, which is bad. We don't want that, because if Tether is going to go up, that means people are selling their crypto into safety. And we do look like we do have like a 1, 2, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we want to see is a 4 and then a 5. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. If we could do that, that would be great. And that would give us a little bit more space. The Dow Jones, I mean, the Dow Jones, it's just going up, 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 up. Just going up. I mean, until we start taking these lows out, we just gotta assume that it's gonna keep going up, which is good for crypto in a way. T drop. You built your little range, you broke out of it. Now we want to back test it, and we want to hold it. So we want to hold the line right around here, and then eventually continue. Ethereum. So this is the big problem, is Ethereum. And I've already, Tether's the problem, the dollar's the problem, Ethereum's the problem. There's a lot of problems, but I think we could still overcome it. So if we look at this area, we see a shoulder, we see a head. We really want to cup around here and get a right shoulder. If we could do that, then it's going to be a nice looking inverse head and shoulders, and then we can hopefully break that, because we need Ethereum to break out. People say, well, why? Why does it matter? Because Ethereum's the biggest altcoin. Well, why does that matter? Because Ethereum has the biggest market cap for the alts. Why does that matter? Because when Ethereum goes up, the market cap goes up. What do people do? They take their profits. Where do they take their profits? Into altcoins. What does that mean? Right? Think of the altcoins like electric cars, and think of Ethereum like an energy generator, right? So Ethereum is storing all of this energy in here, tons and tons of energy. So the higher it goes, the more energy it has, which means when you go plugging into Ethereum or plugging out of Ethereum, there's so much energy to be spread around. You know what I mean? It's kind of a lame way to think about it, but that's really the case. Also, it's all about confidence. The more, if Ethereum can't break out, then why would a lesser known altcoin break out? If Ethereum's number 2 in market cap and it can't expand, then why the hell would any other coin expand? It's like saying, well, if Walmart can't sell that iPhone, why would this mom and pop shop sell the iPhone? You see what I mean? Walmart has a bigger chance at selling an iPhone than some random store. And if Walmart can't do it, then why would another, you know what I mean? So you could say, oh, it's slow, it's expensive, nobody cares about Ethereum. Well, that may be true, but at the end of the day, it's still number 2. So we need this. I don't care about Ethereum. I mean, I don't really hold it. It's fine. I think they're going to improve. I think there's a future for it if, they're continuing to develop, which is important. But what we really need is for it to break out. That's what we want. And if Ethereum can break out, you're going to get many other coins breaking out. Trust me. So if we look at Ethereum real quick on the small time frame, let's look. Yeah, you got a three-wave pullback. You got a 1, you got a 2. Let's see if we can consolidate, break out, or let's see if we can just, this is a 1, this is a 2, let's get a 3, 4, and 5. But my bet is we're probably gonna range in here, because we don't really want any big moves on Monday or even Tuesday. But if we can range, let's see, so Wednesday is the 25th, which is Christmas. That's another thing. It's going to be Christmas week. A lot of the big money traders aren't going to be trading, a lot. So I would expect volatility to slow down, kind of like a weekend. And then once Christmas ends, We're right around the corner for 2025. Once 2025 hits, what happens? People go back to school. People go back to work. People go back to trading. People go back to making money. People go back to the markets. That's when I think, that's when I think things are going to really heat up, either up or down. I think it's going to be up. I think we need a retracement. Now, the best thing we can do for this week, Christmas week, by the way, Merry Christmas to everybody if you celebrate it, or Happy Holidays if you don't. We say Merry Christmas in this house, so Merry Christmas. Anyways, I think we could just chill out for a little bit, just consolidate. That would probably be the best thing. Look at this. Here's a very, very, very good example. Look at this. Look at this. Impulse. You got a three-way pullback, and what did we do? We just consolidated. Just chill, just chill, just chill, and then you break out. That's what we want. Maybe I could do a little fractal and see how it looks here. Just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea. Actually, it's a much bigger fractal here. It doesn't look that good, but yeah, you get the idea. Something like that. Where we just kind of relax and then break out later on. Oh, that's right. What I really wanted to talk about was XRP versus Bitcoin, Ethereum, and maybe THETA too. So, THETA versus Bitcoin, I mean, it looks exactly like THETA USD. There's no difference. You got an impulse. It looks like you got an ABC coming. If we get something like that, that would be great. So that's pretty much it for that. Others looking okay, holding up fairly well. Go to the daily. All right, so let's look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin. And the reason this is important is because we go back to the 2020s, or back to the beginning of the years, right? So if we go to December, look at this. That marked the low. Whoops, come on. That marked the low there. So, 1 second. So that was December of 2016. And then we have December 2017. Look at that. So that was December. That was December. Okay, now let's go to December 2018. Yeah, nothing really there. So that was an outlier. All right, let's go to December 2019. That was a pretty good one there. December, January, right around there. Look what happened. We went up. Okay, 2021. Look at that. There was another low. Seems Ethereum does terrible in December because there was another low there. But then once January hit, look what happened. Ethereum really took off. So 2022, nothing there. I mean, it actually marked the top, which is interesting. Look at that. Exactly the top. But since we're coming from a downtrend, where's 23 at? 23, nothing really there. 24, you're still in the middle of the downtrend. So here we are, December 24. So could it be the low, right? It was the low here. It was a low here. It was a low here. It was a low here, I think. And it was the top here. So we could see a low, which means we need to, this to me looks like 1, 2, looks like you need 3. All right, so let's look at XRP versus Ethereum. Now this chart looks pretty decent. You see this big range in here. So we had a big range, and then we had a flush, and then we had a 1-2. This is a 3. Maybe we come down and hit 4, and we back test the top of this, and then we explode up to 5. Something like that. Or we maybe are still in the third wave itself. Let's look a little closer here. It does look corrective though. It looks like she's slowing down. On one face of it, you could say, there we go, right there. You could say we're kind of consolidating. We're just ranging. Maybe like a little bit of an ABC. We're gearing up to go higher. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we got 3 up, and then maybe we get 3 down, and then we get 5 up, and hopefully break out. That's one way. Another way is, we come up here, and then we come down. So a bigger 3-wave move, and then go up. January 2025. Around that time. Doesn't mean it happens right on the January. It could take till February. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to happen that fast. I think optimism is going to return back because, Trump's going to get inaugurated. People are going to be excited. People are going to be hopeful of the future. So I think things are going to start rolling. I mean, he's going to start doing things to the economy, executive orders. You're going to see a lot of action happen when Trump becomes president. Just on the first day, I mean, day 2, day 3, day 4, the first 100 days are going to be like, whoa, it's going to be a blitz. It's going to be a media blitz. And we're going to see some big things, which could spark, momentum. And that's what we need. We need momentum because we've stalled our momentum. And we need to calibrate it. So that's basically it. I mean, there's nothing else really here. This, when you look at near, it looked good. It looked like, but now it looks, you got 3, and then you got 5. So that right there, this whole thing is a 3. This whole thing here is 3. So we could get 1, 2, 3. And then go up, which doesn't really make sense because, it doesn't really line up with the rest of the market, unless this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, which is very bullish. I don't know how that's going to look. Filecoin, we had a accumulation, we broke out, we came down, we're back testing. So now what do we need? We need a retracement. I'm looking for a retrace of that crash that we had. This is definitely a big dump. So, I want to see some structure, and then I want to see a retrace in here. So we have a bottoming process that could last several weeks. An example is right here. When you drop and you go sideways, that's good because you get to go up. But when you drop and then you go fast to the upside, what happens? Then you collapse. So you actually want to go sideways. Now, sometimes it doesn't work out. Like in this instance, we went sideways, we popped up, and then we quickly came down. So, yeah, we want to see something like that. or actually it would be more like this. You could see the base, the pump, the base, the pump, the back test, the back test. Well, it didn't really. This one didn't really back test though, but it did. We did get that pullback, and then you kind of consolidate a little bit, something like that. So it's just one of those things. We just gotta wait. We gotta be patient. We gotta track the small time frames. We gotta know the risk. They pretty much look all the same. There's no real big differences. That's why I'm not looking at every single coin. There's no need to. I don't really like this structure though. See, I'd rather have it, we pump. I want to see a pump, which we got. And then we get the crash. You get the crash, that's fine. And then maybe you consolidate, that's fine. But then I want to see it come back up. And then I want to see it flush. And then you get that oscillation. But what we see here is kind of like we're bottlenecking. And then we hit the high and then we come back down. And now we're still sort of stuck in this channel here. Right? So it could come down, it could come up. But if it did come up, it's more unlikely to come back down later. It's one of those tricky ones. Doesn't look that nice. Now, there is a little bit of an example I can share. Like if you look at Bitcoin, here's a fractal. Look at this fractal. If we go to Bitcoin and we go to the daily and we look right here, you can see that same kind of thing right here. So there you go. See how we come down, right? And then you kind of chop, chop, chop. You hit this little thing here. Boom. And then you get another hit to the low. Boom. And then you kind of start to pump back up. So maybe one more hit to the low and then you pump back up. I mean, it kind of looks similar to what happened over here in Bitcoin. So it could actually be very bullish. Yeah, and then plus that weekly candle comes in right around here. So yeah, just real quick, boom, there. Got that there. Got a little deviation there. And then you got this little area here. And then you got 1, 2, 3. And it looks like we got 1, 2, 3. And then it looks like you get kind of like an impulse. Maybe there's a pullback in there. I just don't see it. But we're already dumping here. So yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. But anyway, that'll do it for this video. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. And remember, not financial advice. This is just me speculating based off what we see on the structure of the chart. So anyways, that'll do it. And I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.